I ended up having to force a still protesting Yoko into a taxi. Even then, she still wouldn't stop complaining. So to placate, I think it is pronounced. I may be wrong. So to placate her, I promised I would search the park on my own for a little while longer. I don't like this. I don't like this. Oh? A little while, the entire night longer. Because it's morning already here. Huh. Kinjibori Park Part 4. Yeah, this is Part 3. This is Part 3, with the weird... How do you call it again? What you use for the, genitive. Worried about Yoko after a bizarre adventure, Shogo decides to call off their investigation into the mysteries for the night. Despite her stubborn objections, he manages to persuade her by offering to continue the search on his own. Okay. 5 AM. We hear birds. We hear music. Kinjibori Park. In further news... Huh? Before dawn today, a police officer on patrol discovered a man collapsed in a Sumida City Park. The man was taken to the hospital, but his death was confirmed shortly after. Investigations are still underway, but police suspect a connection to the other unexplained deaths found in the area at around the same time. Well done in your efforts thus far. You have completed the tutorial. So he wasn't searching in the park for 3 or 4 hours. He was just dead the entire time. From the fish curse somehow, which Yoko should have. We still don't know exactly what's up with the scene. Well done in your efforts thus far. This brings Shogo-oki's story to a close. But this is not the end. Far from it. In fact, this is where the story finally begins. The routes of the 3 protagonists have now been unlocked. Haruo Shigima, a woman who lost her son when he was kidnapped and murdered. Tetsu Tsutsumi, the chief inspector of the 1st Investigative Division, who is looking into the death of an officer in the line of duty. Yako Sakazaki, a high school girl who wants to bring a friend back from the dead, a girl who died in a suspicious suicide. Each of them is burdened with circumstances that leave them no choice but to seek the rite of resurrection. Following these 3 storylines will reveal the full nature of all that is occurring. With that, please enjoy the continuation of this tale. So good, man. This was basically the opening act of the game. A very, very good opening act of the game. And now we are going to play this game from these three perspectives. We can always choose what we want to pursue next. The game will take a slightly different course now, like a slightly different mood. While the beginning was very, very, very dark and horror-like, it will kind of reduce on these elements, and it's more like a mystery crime, but still supernatural kind of thing. This was for many the biggest negative point of the story, which I kinda get, because they were expecting what was this in the opening with Shogo-oki happening. Like, if this was the entire game, then they would have liked it better, but it's still very good. But I don't say too much. Yeah, I just should quit blabbering. The real game is starting now. And it's a lot about connecting the dots, connecting about the very, very small details here and there, and this is really fun. Haruhi Shigima, Tetsu Tsutsumi, and Yaku Sakazaki. Yeah, it's really cool because we already encountered these three people as Shogo-oki, so we kind of know who they are, but of course we don't know all details since they were kind of tight-lipped. If anything, Haruhi said the most. And Yaku was just instantly killed off. Wow. Interesting. And if we follow the timeline, these three events are happening before we encountered them here later in the night. So this will be very interesting. I think I will just go with the first person, which is Haruhi Shigima, Not a Dreams, and we see the private investigator who we encountered here a little bit later. When the son of Haruhi Shigima was kidnapped, a botched investigation by the police resulted in the child's murder. 1 year later, Haruhi has hired a private investigator to help resolve the unsettled case. Late at night, while speaking to the detective at home, something strange suddenly appears. Burning! May those who mock fire perish in flame. Everything burns! Kill them! Kill them! The flame bearers! Kill them all! Okay, you have acquired the power of the curse stone, the Haunting Clappers. You can use it to kill those with fire or a fire starting device on their person. Press the use curse button to set your target alight. Files updated. Maybe I will read this when the music isn't that loud anymore. Okay, I guess I will read it. the Haunting Clappers. We read that already ago, but oh, do you hear in the background like the clapping sound and the sizzling fire? This is so good. This is so good, man. I kind of want to hear what the Whispering Canal sounded like in comparison. Now that I paid attention to that. The Haunting Clappers, an enduring superstition, as the evening bell rings in Iriecho near present-day Shumoku Ridge. A night watchman patrols the dark street and announces his presence by shouting warnings about fires, all the while striking his wooden clappers. But tonight the sound of another set of clappers answers back. He curiously claps his clappers together again. Clack, clack. The echo answers again, but no matter how hard he searches for the source of the second pair of clappers, he never finds it. Some say it was the work of a mischievous tanuki or kitsune, while others say it was a warning from the spirit of someone who lost their life in terrible fire. Now we see what really happened. A cursed power, kills by burning one who is in possession of fire or a fire-starting device. A resentful memory. Wretch, wretch, wretch. Everything is dyed crimson. My home is burning to the ground. It's hot, so hot. I must call for help, but I cannot speak. My throat must be burned up from the smoke. No, I think I'm already on fire. That's right. I will just use the clappers. Clack, clack. Is anybody there? Clack, clack. Why is no one coming? I'm going to burn to death. How did it come to this? Alright. Her. It must be the work of that vixen who appeared suddenly and enchanted my lord. That witch. Those hauntingly cold eyes had my lord dancing in the palm of her hand. Perhaps I was also taken in by her. How many innocent people did I lure in under her orders? This must be karma. The sound of a heavy bell. It feels like my head will split open. Ah, right, the evening bell. That must be why nobody can hear the sound of my clappers. I've got to do it louder. Clack, 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 clack. Yeah. A murderous impulse seeps into my soul like thick black tar. Now. Kill. Can you hear it, curse bearer? You who so strongly desires the right. Kill them. Haruhi Shigima, 12 a.m. midnight. Shigima mentioned the reception room. Richter. Back with me, ma'am. Can't say I understand what just happened, but it certainly seems to have put you in a good mood. This might be the first time I have ever seen you really smile. I don't know if this is a smile, but sweet dreams. Housewife Haruhi Shigima. The facial expressions of this character are so good. Persons of interest updated. Haruhi Shigima, female housewife, the haunting clappers. Haruhi is a housewife who resides in a manor near Shumoku Bridge. Her 11-year-old son, Shuichi, was kidnapped and murdered about a year ago. The death was the result of a mistake on the part of the detective assigned to the case, a mistake which enraged the kidnapper and had him cut off all contact with police, leaving no room for negotiation. The incident was covered up and Shuichi's killer remains at large, leading the aggrieved Haruhi to call on the services of private investigator Richter Kai to uncover the truth. The Shigima family came from a line of samurai who built their residence in Honjo during the Edo period. They assumed important positions in the police force following the Meiji Revolution, thereby protecting their family's elevated status. Even today, many in the Shigima line work as police bureaucrats and senior police officers. Haruhi's father sits in the upper echelons of the National Police Agency, and her husband, adopted into the Shigima clan through an arranged marriage, is also a highly respected agency official. Yeah. However, as her family prioritizes work above all else, it wasn't long before Haruhi's marriage grew cold. Though she wants for nothing, she is isolated from her neighbors and withdrawn from society. Seeing her son grow into a young man gave Haruhi a purpose in life, but it was cut short by the kidnapping incident. Following the incident, Haruhi spent many days in a deep depression, breaking into sudden fits of shouting and wandering around in the middle of the night. Her cheerful, loving disposition faded away, and she took to making snide remarks at her husband, which only further soured their relationship. A few months ago, Hardaway's husband was transferred to another area for work and now rarely returns home, with Hardaway left to live in the large, empty mansion alone. As a housekeeper who has been with the family for a long time comes in to take care of all the housework, Hardaway has nothing but time on her hands. Man. Why is it so late already? No. Not dreams. This was the title of the episode. Sounds like something I might want to hear about. The mood is so good. Just hear a very faint static noise and this clock ticking. This is a really impressive sound design. Like sometimes quietness is making such a strong effect. Man. My heart's still racing. This is it, my chance at long last. My heart's still racing. This is my... Okay, guest table. The guest table. I don't know where father got this old thing from, but I've never liked it. Fax machine. A fax machine. It can send images to other places along the telephone network. I don't really know how it works. Most houses don't have one. I rarely find a use for it. Okay. Clock. The swinging of the pendulum echoes through the room. It feels livelier than usual with Richter here. Usually it's just me. Television. A color television. Father bought one as soon as it hit the market. He likes to have the latest gadgets. Unlike the latest models, there's no remote control. We've had it for a long time. Back when it was new, we all gathered around it and marveled at it as a family. But with father and my husband being away so often, it quickly fell into disuse. It's slightly unnerving. Exclamation mark? Holy trousers, well, I'll be damned, is that what I think it is? Goodness, you made me jump. It's just a silly little sticker my son got from somewhere or other. He put it up just before, well, you know what happened. I still can't bring myself to take it down. Let me take a closer look. I knew it. It's Hat Honjo from way back in set number 1. This is a real collector's item. Excuse me? Don't tell me you've never heard of the Mockingbirds. The what? They are the hottest new craze. Cute little birds dressed up like rough and tumble delinquents. I've never heard of them, but this certainly seems to matter to you. The best part is, nobody knows who made them. They just started showing up around town, and soon enough they'd won everybody's hearts. The story goes that they are made by some anonymous artist who covertly leaves them behind in specific locations. Like in your home. Not creepy at all. No one knows when or where they'll show up next. They're basically an urban legends of sorts. To think one would turn up here of all places. This is a good sign, I'm sure of it. Well, that's nice. Damn! Look at this! Mockingbird number 1 discovered. It's a chicken with a leather jacket, and he has like a motor and grass and whatever this is, and glasses, and he's very cool. He has a golden egg on his arm, on his wing. Anyway, mockingbirds. These popular bird mascot stickers seem to pop up everywhere. Nobody knows who the legendary artist is behind these quirky birds, but they quickly became popular for their surreal yet oddly cute designs. Be in the right place at the right time in Honjo, and you might just be able to find all 20 of them scattered around. Legend has it collecting them all will bring good luck. Mockingbird stickers, there are 20 to find. Head Honjo, approach the net, a bottom shelf surrounded by darkness, jackpot, late at night on the way home, look up at the first house. Okay. Among the morning green, before hearing the history, in the bright garden, if you won the lottery, wait until you feel like yourself again, detectives in private eyes, a ringing telephone booth, the excited detective waiting at the entrance, in a park where sparrows sing, waiting at the intersection on a bridge pillar at night, a unique looking playground, revisiting the park at night. Hot damn! Okay. Stereo. Stereo unit with separated speakers designed for home use. My husband insisted on buying one, even though he isn't one to listen to music often. Flower arrangement. An arrangement of flowers. We bring in someone to do it. I don't even know what the flowers are called. Hanging scroll. An old hanging scroll. I don't know who painted it. It's been hanging here since before I was born. My ability to speak lessens with a minute. Rotary phone. The telephone. This mansion has a private line. The chandelier. The lights. The chandelier is the only thing in here that's my choice. It's my favorite part of the room. Richter Kai. A private investigator I hired. A friend told me about him. They said he's not very well known, but he's good at what he does. When I first visited his office in Oda City and saw how he dressed, I could hardly believe he was a detective. But after talking to him for a while, I changed my mind. He says some strange things at times, but he seems like the reliable sort. Damn. Richter Kai, male private investigator, has no curse echo. The eccentric man that Shogoki ran into at Honjo Bridge. Richter is actually a private investigator with an office in Ota City, Tokyo, after taking on a request from Haruhi Shigima to investigate the unsolved kidnapping and murder of her son. He gets caught up in the events surrounding the rite of resurrection. Once a police officer, Richter was wrecked with guilt over the police's inability to help all those in need and quit the force to start his own private investigation firm. However, his soft-hearted nature leads him to take on too many cases and has put his office in dire financial straits. How he is still in business is a mystery, with some whispering that a wealthy patron is keeping him afloat. Richter studied alongside Detective Jun Ario at the police academy. Somewhat surprisingly, given his outlandish clothing and mannerisms, Richter excels at covert investigations and tailing his targets, like he did on Shogoki. He proudly refers to himself as an investigator extraordinaire, though that only ever succeeds at impressing himself. Richter's biggest source of happiness is nuzzling his pet female albino parakeet, Ernestine, which he keeps in his office. He also enjoys collecting mockingbird stickers, a popular line of merchandise featuring birds inexplicably dressed like delinquents, and can be frequently sighted searching around town for them. While out and about, Richter typically leaves the office, and more importantly Ernestine, in the care of Amamori, a junior high schooler who volunteered to assist Richter after being involved in a previous case. Files updated. Azure Heron Agency. Richter Kai's private investigation firm in Kamata, Ota City. Originally, Kai thought to give it a simple name like Kai's Detective Agency, but upon hearing that people are more likely to pick names listed at the front of the phone book alphabetically, he decided to pick a name starting with an A. Thus, the Azure Heron Agency was established. I guess, yeah, good thought. However, it is questionable whether the heron, a bird of somewhat ominous significance, is an effective symbol for attracting customers. Even his own assistant has referred to the name as confusing at best. After all, rather than an azure heron, Richter keeps a white parrot as a pet and dresses not in blue but mostly in white. If there was a symbolic connection to be made here, it has surely been lost on all but Richter himself. A private investigator, also known as a private eye, is a detective who operates their own agency. Although there are no formal qualifications necessary to become a private investigator, many are retired police agents or detectives due to the similarities between the work involved. At a glance, private investigation firms and inquiry offices might look similar, but they carry out different types of investigations. Inquiry offices specialize in conducting credit checks on businesses, while private investigators are generally involved in tailing persons of interest and gaining information surreptitiously. These were a lot of words. My heart is still racing. Okay, let me bring you up to speed. We were in the middle of chat. In the middle of chat we were? When you suddenly started spacing out? And the whole time you were grinning to yourself like you just won the lottery. Care to tell me what that was all about? Well, where to start? Interesting. Very interesting. So, the haunting clapper's curse echo appeared out of nowhere, told you how to perform the rite of resurrection, and gave you the curse so you need to do it. Have I got that right? That's right. So it's all real. Honestly, I still find it hard to believe. But I guess I have to now. I saw that curse stone appear in your hand myself. It looked like it popped clean out of thin air. With evidence that clear, there's no denying that there's some supernatural force at work. Can I look at it? No. I don't think you quite understand. Oh. This isn't about evidence, and it isn't about belief. It's more than that. I know it's real. The moment the curse appeared, I knew everything before it even said a word. It was already there in my head, as clear as day. You just knew, huh? It was etched onto my soul, along with the curse echo's resentful memories. So I can feel it, what it was like. Dying like they did, hundreds of years ago. Wreathed in flame, writhing in pain, as my flesh blackens and my blood boils. I can feel it. All the agony, all the rage. It fills me with bloodlust. I think I need to kill someone. Anyone will do, just as long as they are carrying fire. I see. That could be a problem. You think so? From what I know of you, I was sure you would see it as an opportunity. The stronger the desire to resurrect someone, the stronger the urge to kill. That's how it seems to me anyway. Good grief. Talk about a spanner in the works. I say we take stock for a moment, remind ourselves where we've come from and where we're going. That might be a good idea. Okay. About the investigation. That's what you hired me for, Mayhem, to look into your son's kidnapping last year, to uncover the truth behind the abduction and murder of Shuichi Shigima. Oh yes, I remember. They never did find the one who did it. That's what I'm here about today, in fact. Kind of you to let me drop by so late, by the way. I've been turning over every last stone, and I've come up with a grand total of 1 lead. So you said. As far as the police are concerned, it's a cold case, but I've managed to make some headway. I remember, you were just about to tell me. Files updated? Man, I love reading files. The Shigima kidnapping overview. A kidnapping and murder case that took place in Honjo, Sumida around 1 year ago. Haruhi Shigima's son, Shuichi, age 11, was kidnapped on his way home from school, with a ransom being demanded that same evening. Initially, the kidnapping was thought of as a simple extortion scheme, but when it came to light that the Shigima family was closely tied to the police and Shuichi was in fact the grandson of a senior official, it was quickly assumed that the perpetrator was acting upon a grudge against the police force. The kidnapping was treated as a direct attack against the good name of the police, and a large-scale investigation was launched that used the best equipment available to trace phone calls. This made it all the more embarrassing when they were unable to catch the culprit, losing the public's confidence. The culprit grew cocky, relentlessly mocking the police force. After 3 days of failure after failure, Haruhi reached a breaking point. Spurred by concern for her son, she resolved to hand over the ransom money as fast as possible, but her husband and father, who held the prestige of the police in high regard, refused, saying that they would not let the criminal win by giving in to their demands. The increasingly frantic detective assigned to the case lost his temper when the criminal called to give an ultimatum, causing the culprit to never make contact again. Another week passed and Shuichi's body was found floating in the Sumida River. Shuichi's death could be largely ascribed to the police's incompetence, but this was ultimately covered up with stringent media embargoes. The investigation was never closed, but the case has long gone cold. Yeah. Like there are like cases in the real world like that as well. This is messed up. Persons of interest updated. Because I really like to read. Shuichi Shigima, male elementary school student, curse echo none. Okay. The only son of Haruhi Shigima, he was kidnapped and murdered 1 year ago. His body was discovered floating in the Sumida River. Shuichi was a conscientious? Is this how you call it this? Brave young boy who was determined to protect his mother, Haruhi, amid his father's frequent absences. He dreamed of becoming a police officer and displayed diligence and an impressive sense of responsibility from a young age, likely due to being raised in an extremely strict environment. Born in the early 70s, he spent his days immersed in various activities and studies, including playing piano, let's go, learning the abacus, taking English lessons, and training in kendo. Shuichi's tendency to put other people's needs over his own meant he died without ever telling his classmates how much he longed for them all to go out on a hunt for mockingbird stickers. He would be a fine policeman. About the investigation. You know, we still need to figure out exactly what you want me to do. Tell you what, why don't I tell you what I found and then we can make a decision. Alright? Yeah. You know, we still need to figure out to tell you what, okay. About the kidnapping. I suppose there's not much point going over the kidnapping itself. No, I'm very familiar. Then I leave that for the files to cover and just confirm a few things about the case. The police traced the culprit's calls back to, let's see, here. Northern Oyoko River, here in Sumida City. That's quite a wide area. That's right. In the end, they never managed to nail down exactly where the calls were coming from, but it was almost certainly the same location that Shuichi was being held captive, since Shuichi's voice could be heard during the killer's calls. Northern Oyoko River is quite a distance from Shuichi's normal school commute. Factoring in that he was seen at school but went missing before he arrived at his house, it's likely that he was abducted by car on his route home. Maybe, but exactly. Shuichi was a clever boy. He never would have gotten into a car with a stranger. That's right. I was very firm about that. I know he understood, too. I even saw him warning the other children. It's possible that they forced him into the car. The only issue there is there weren't any witnesses to the kidnapping. You can't bundle someone into a car with that many students around and not be noticed. But nobody came forward to say they saw anything suspicious. So did they target him at some other time, or somewhere away from his usual route? Both of those seem a little far-fetched. Which raises the question, how did the kidnapper pull it off? The police never managed to find an answer. In the end, they decided that the kidnapper must just have gotten lucky. Well, why not turn the problem on its head? About the kidnapping? The kidnapper managed to convince Shuichi to get into their car, but how? The only thing that makes sense to me is if they were somebody that he would have a reason to trust. A teacher, perhaps, or a relative, or somebody else that he knew. But all the adults Shuichi knew had alibis. The police checked them all thoroughly. They did, huh? No one throws numbers at a problem like the cops. But what if it wasn't someone he knew, or rather... What if the culprit disguised themselves as a police officer? That would explain why he didn't find them suspicious. The Shigima family has close ties with the police after all. He would have had a reason to trust them. You might be right, but surely that couldn't have... Well, there's a problem with the theory. You'd be surprised how much police officers stand out. That's sort of the point after all. They are meant to be a visible deterrent against crime. Okay. But here's another interesting little bit of trivia I happen to know. When you ask people to imagine someone suspicious, nobody pictures women or children. Even kids who have been warned about stranger danger often subconsciously expect the danger to look like an adult man. Besides, Shuichi was the sort of boy who wanted to be a police officer when he grew up. He must have had a very strong sense of right and wrong. That's right. Wait, surely you can't mean... Now you're getting it. If, say, a young woman approached Shuichi asking for help, what would he have done? If someone like that said they were lost and asked him for directions, would he have gotten into a car? He might have. My husband always told him that a man had a duty to watch out for women and children. You could certainly argue that kind of attitude is outdated nowadays, but if Shuichi believed it, then we might have something here. And you think the culprit was a young woman? But it was a man's voice on the phone. She might have been an accomplice, or maybe she didn't even realize she was being used. If anything, that would explain why she hadn't come forward. She herself might not realize she had anything to do with the case. Okay. So the question is, did anybody see Shuichi speaking with a young woman on the day of his disappearance? See what I said about people's biases? That goes for witnesses too. And I figured that maybe if I started asking new questions, I might get some new answers. So I spent my day asking around Shuichi's school route, seeing if anyone had seen something. And one man thought he had. Do you mean he saw it happen? Well, I can't say that for sure yet. It turned out he wanted something from me, so he asked if he could talk in private. Several hours earlier. Alright, this should do. There's no one around, we can speak in confidence. Excuse me, but what was your name again? Jonoishi. Got it. Well, Jonoishi, and I'm all ears. Just so we're on the same page. You're a private detective investigating Shuichi's kid. Do I have that right? Of course. What else do I look like? How should I know what a private detective looks like? Forget it. Look, I tell you straight. My life is in danger. I'm in danger. Need your help. Oh. You will excuse me if that caught me a little off guard. Let me ask you straight. Who is trying to kill you? A student called Michio Shiraishi. Interesting. A schoolgirl, eh? Sounds like you've been naughty. Oh, yeah, it's nothing like that. The girl, that girl, she's a murderer. I'm the only one who knows, but I saw what she did. Michio Shiraishi. I saw her kidnap Shuichi Shigima. Come again? I saw her talk to him on the street and lead him away. I didn't think much of it at the time, but then he went missing. She murdered him, and I'm sure Fit murdered him, or at least she's got something to do with it. That's what you're here for, isn't it? Then you can't let it get to me. If that's true, you've been sitting on some valuable information. Why didn't you tell anybody? What did you see? If you can't explain that, I don't have any reason to believe you. Oh, this was Richter. If you can't explain that, I don't have any reason to believe you. I couldn't. She told me she'd kill me if I spoke a word. You're telling me a schoolgirl had you scared for your life. So you've been sitting on that all this time and you think she's coming for you now that you've spilled the beans? Yes, it's exactly it. I think you don't let her get to me. Arrest her, I'm telling you, she's a demon, and the demon and violent. Well, you seem to believe what you're saying, but it just doesn't add up. How could a schoolgirl have a fully grown man so terrified? You don't know what she can do. She cursed me. Curse you? I'm sorry, but you're losing me here. It's true, her house, it's her house. Forget it. Why do we even bother? You seem dubious enough to believe me, but I should have known you'd never understand. Enough. I'll find someone else to help me. Hey. That's what, and that's about the long and short of it. I can hardly believe it. At that time, I thought this mention of curses was just crazy talk, but I'm starting to see that there might have been more to it. Then, if we can just find that girl, curse or no curse, if she was with Shuichi on the day of the kidnapping, then there's a good chance she knows something. On top of that, I did some digging on the man I spoke to. His full name's Kohei Jonoichi. He's a teacher at Komagata High School here in Sumida. A teacher? Then the schoolgirl is one of his students. I think that's very likely. About the kidnapping again. At last we've got a lead. Hopefully it will be the breakthrough we are looking for. About the right of resurrection. The right of resurrection, huh? I read about that in an occult magazine the other day. Apparently some old book showed up recently with all the gory details. And they say that the right can be found somewhere in Honjo. I remember the first time you told me about that. It felt like my prayers had been heard. Like I had hope, real hope for the first time. Ever since that awful day, I've wondered, what if I hadn't sent him to school? What if I just paid the ransom? Not a day goes by when I don't think that if I'd done something differently, Shuichi would still be alive. You can't blame yourself, Mayhem. It was the culprit's fault, not yours. Though I know that won't help any. Grief is funny like that. I'm guessing that's why you're here. That's why you're after the ride. Guess I didn't need to ask. It's written all over your face. I can tell how much he meant to you. But, and this is a big but, if this ride is the real deal, using it will mean killing someone and stealing their soul. Is that a problem? If it comes to that, I'm afraid I'll have to stop you. That's a shame. A shame, huh? That's all? I thought if I'm going to be competing with other curse bearers, then your detective skills might come in useful. You realize you're talking about ending someone's life, right? Don't you see an issue with that? I think any parent in my position would happily kill for a chance like this. That's so, is it? Dear oh dear, what have I got myself into? If it makes you uncomfortable, then you won't have to get any blood on your hands yourself. I don't need you to kill the other curse bearers, I only need you to find them. I won't be party to murder mayhem, not even for a client. I'll pay you. That's a shame. I'll pay you. How much can I give you to change your mind? Sorry, Mayhem, but not everyone has a price. I've got my policies and I stick to them. I see. I didn't realize you were so stubborn. Let me say, though, it's not like I don't get what you're going through. As long as you're not killing anyone with your own hands, maybe I can help you out. What do you have in mind? Well, how about stealing someone else's curse stone after they filled it with soul tricks? Huh? If that was all you were after, then I could lend you my services guilt-free. If the other curse bearers want to kill each other, that's their business. I'm not trying to be a hero here. I guess there's no guarantee a curse stone will work, but we can worry about that later. Well then, I suppose we have a deal. Although, what if I stole a curse stone using my curse? Would you disapprove? That would void our contract, Mayhem. Just warning you now. My. Do I have no idea about my curse? About the kidnapping. At last we've got a lead. Hopefully it will be the breakthrough we're looking for. About the Rise of Resurrection. If it makes you uncomfortable, then you won't have to get any blood on your hands yourself. I don't need you to kill the other curse bearers. I only need you to find them. I won't be party to murder, maybe not even for a client. Oh, that's a shame. I see, I didn't realize you were so stubborn. Let me say, though, it's not like I don't get what you're going through. Yeah, okay. About my curse. Before we go any further, why don't you tell me about that curse of yours? The haunting clappers, was it? That's one of the 7 mysteries of Honjo, if I remember correctly. That's right. The original story that happened somewhere near here, I think. I'm sure I remember hearing that. In that case, my money would be on all the curse bearers being somewhere in Honjo. Our first move should be to narrow them down. Some of them are bound to try and come for you first. We need to be ready. The curses make the bearers more willing to kill, so an attack could come from anywhere. It sounds sensible. Curse. And if I remember correctly, your haunting clappers can set people on fire, but only if they have a naked flame or a lighter on their person. Is that all right? That's right. In olden times, wooden clappers were used to warn people of fire. I'm guessing it punishes those who don't heed the warning. It seems like a good curse to have. It's simple and straightforward enough to use. Although it's hard to say how it stacks up without knowing what else is on the table. Really think it's that good? The target can't do much to throw it off, and has a nice long activation window. It's big that it works on lighters too. Just slip one into your target's pocket and say that condition were already fulfilled before they even knew you're there. They wouldn't even know what hit them. Maybe I won't have to actually use it. I could just tell someone I could. They have to do what I said. Threats could work, although without any proof. It will come down to how convincing you can be. If only you could use the curse, then back out at the last second. At the last second? What an interesting idea. I have a lighter right here. We could try it now. That's an interesting proposition. But maybe not. I'm not quite crazy enough to make myself a guinea pig. Oh, I see. You're an odd one, Mayhem, if you don't mind me saying, and I don't think it's just the curse. You flatterer. You flatterer. As for what we do next, first of all, I think you should stay indoors. Try not to do anything spontaneous or outside of your normal routine. And lastly, about the investigation. Right then, have you decided what you want me working on? Help me with right, investigate the kidnapping. Let's say help me with the right. Bring my son back is more important. I want you to help me with the rite of resurrection. Roger that, the rite it is. Odds are good that the other curse bearers are also working by night. Anyone they kill under the cover of darkness won't be discovered until sunrise. I bet they'll be trying to do as much as they can before morning comes. So it's settled then. I look into the other curse bearers by night. And once the city wakes up and I can start asking questions, I'll investigate the kidnapping as well. I'll even try and find Miss Shiraichi as part of the bargain. Thank you. That's more than enough. Now then. I should get to work. There's only so much time before sunrise. I'll call you if I find out anything new. You stay here and keep a lookout. Alright? There's no telling what kinds of curses you might find out on the streets tonight. Don't go outside if you can't help it. If you can help it. And try to be ready for anything. I will. Well, that's all. I should be going. Damn. What a cool guy. And with that, we have a way too long episode and I will end for now and I will see you later.